Intro. What if the perfect stand mixer isn't the one everyone keeps recommending? Today we're breaking down the top 5 stand mixers that actually matter in real kitchens' performance, value, and usability. Stick around, and check the links in the description if one stands out. Now let's move to the contender. At number 5, we have a CUSIMAX 650 watts. There's a moment every home baker knows too well. The dough starts getting heavier. The bowl starts shaking, and suddenly that relaxing baking plan turns into a battle between you and your machine. That's where the CUSIMAX 650 watts enters the picture. It doesn't try to impress you with complexity or flashy design. Instead, it focuses on something far more important: getting the job done without drama. The 650 watts motor steps in with enough strength to handle everyday baking with surprising confidence. Cake batters come together smoothly, cookie dough feels more controlled, and even thicker mixtures don't immediately overwhelm it the way cheaper mixers often do. You can feel that it's designed for real home use. Not commercial kitchens. Not extreme baking marathons. Just the kind of daily recipes most people actually make. What makes it interesting is its balance. It's strong enough to take pressure off your hands, yet simple enough that you never feel like you're operating machinery. Just set it, mix it, and let it work. Of course, it has limits. When things get too heavy, large bread batches or dense dough, the bowl capacity and endurance start to show restraint compared to higher tier models. But here's the truth: not every kitchen needs a heavyweight. For everyday baking comfort, the CUSIMAX 650 watts quietly does its job in the background, and sometimes, that reliability is exactly what you need. Coming up next at number 4 is the Hamilton Beach Electric. Most people don't realize this until it happens. A stand mixer doesn't just mix ingredients. It can decide whether your baking session feels like therapy or frustration. The Hamilton Beach Electric stands right in that middle ground where practicality meets everyday convenience. From the first use, what you notice is how it approaches mixing with rhythm and consistency. The planetary mixing action moves ingredients in a way that feels more complete, reducing those annoying moments where flour hides in corners or batter stays uneven. There's a kind of ease here that matters more than people expect. You're not constantly stopping. You're not fighting the mixture. You're just watching it come together. Thicker doughs like cookies and bread mixtures are handled better than many entry-level mixers, and the spacious bowl gives you enough room to work without constant worry about overflow. But it's not pretending to be a premium powerhouse. Push it too far into dense, heavy dough territory and you'll notice its limits. It's built for balance, not extremes. Still, that's exactly where it wins. Because for most kitchens, most families, most weekends, it delivers something incredibly valuable: consistency without complication. And when you finally lift the finished dough or batter, there's that quiet satisfaction, like the machine and the moment work together instead of against each other. Let's keep the momentum going. At number 3 we have the 3.5 QT. Some mixers feel like they're built for professional chefs. The 3.5 QT feels like it's built for real life. Not every kitchen has space for bulky machines. Not every recipe needs industrial power. Sometimes what you really need is something that simply fits into your routine without taking over your counter. That's exactly where this one shines. The first impression is how light and approachable it feels. You're not dealing with a complicated setup or overwhelming structure. Just simple controls, easy operation, and a design that quietly respects your space. It handles everyday essentials comfortably: cake batter that comes together smoothly, whipped cream that forms with ease, cookie dough that doesn't feel like a struggle. It's not trying to be more than it is, and that's what makes it work. Because in smaller kitchens or for lighter baking routines, convenience becomes everything. Yes, the 3.5 quart capacity is more modest. But instead of being a drawback, it often becomes freedom. Less waste. Less cleanup. Less space taken up for no reason. Just simple, efficient baking that fits into your day instead of interrupting it. And if you're already comparing options, you'll find all the models mentioned in this video linked below. It's worth checking them out side by side before deciding, because the right mixer really depends on your kitchen style. Breaking into the top 2, the Honinst 6.5 QT takes the number 2 position. Now we move into a completely different category of expectations. The Honinst 6.5 QT is for those moments when baking stops being light activity and becomes real preparation, larger batches, heavier dough, and more demanding recipes. This is where smaller mixers start to struggle, and this one steps forward. The first thing you notice is the scale. The 6.5 quart bowl immediately signals capability. There's space. Real space? Space that allows ingredients to move freely instead of constantly fighting the walls of the bowl. And when it starts mixing, you can feel the difference. Thick dough doesn't jump around the counter the way it does with weaker machines. Cake batter blends more evenly without constant stopping. Bread preparation becomes less of a physical effort and more of a guided process. The multiple speed settings give you control when things get delicate and stability when things get heavy. Of course, it takes up more counter space. In smaller kitchens, you'll notice it immediately. It's not subtle. But that size is also what gives it strength. Because when you're preparing food for family gatherings or larger portions, that extra capacity stops feeling like a burden and starts feeling like relief. It turns what used to be tiring mixing sessions into something calmer and more structured, more manageable. And that shift alone changes how you experience baking at home. And finally, taking the number one spot on our list, we have the kitchen in the box 3.2 quarts. At first glance, it doesn't try to impress you. No oversized frame. No intimidating structure. No professional kitchen presence. And yet this is the one that quietly wins the entire comparison. The kitchen in the box 3.2 quarts proves something important. Bigger doesn't always mean better for everyday use. It fits naturally into smaller kitchens, and from the moment you start using it, there's a sense of ease. You don't adjust your space for it. It adjusts to you. Cake batter mixes without effort. Cookie dough comes together smoothly. Whipped cream feels almost effortless. It handles daily baking tasks in a way that feels consistent and reliable. But what really makes it stand out is how it removes friction from the process. Less setup. Less stress. Less thinking about the machine itself. Yes, it's not designed for large-scale baking. If you're preparing heavy bread batches regularly, you'll feel its limitations. But for most households, that's not the reality of everyday cooking. And in that everyday space it thrives. It becomes the kind of appliance you don't overthink. You just use it. Winner if we bring everything together: performance, usability, space, and real everyday practicality. The kitchen in the box 3.2 quarts stands out not because it tries to be the most powerful, but because it understands how most people actually bake. It's simple. It's efficient. It's consistent. And it fits into real kitchens without demanding anything in return. That balance is what makes it the winner of this comparison. So, that wraps up our top 5 stand mixers breakdown. Every model here brings something different to the table, and the right choice really depends on your needs and kitchen style. All the links are waiting in the description if you want to explore further. If this helped you decide, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned because we've got more honest comparisons coming soon. The best kitchen upgrade is the one that quietly makes everything easier.